So we're called Priests, and we're from Washington, D.C. We played here last year, and it was so fun, and we're so stoked to be here again. Thanks for coming.
Hey, I'm Jaguar.
Taylor.
I'm Katie.
I'm Daniele.
To me, it refers to a certain type of music from a certain time period, typically. We were actually just talking about this morning because our friend in San Diego was describing us to his housemate and was like, oh, you guys, yeah, you're kind of like a mix between like 77 Punk and Riot Grrrl. And we were saying like, oh, we're not like directly influenced by Riot Grrrl records, but like we're into Riot Grrrl a lot. But to me, it's like we were talking about how it's not really like a specific sound. Like there are plenty of Riot Grrrl bands that sound nothing like each other. But it was more about a political attitude, a movement about inclusion, resistance against like kind of what we would call now like bro culture. I wouldn't say that we really have a Riot Grrrl scene. We have a pretty active DIY scene right now. Like a lot of people, relatively speaking, a lot of our friends doing music who aren't necessarily like straight, white, bros.
Yeah, I feel like there is a trend of anything that isn't straight white bro music being called Riot Grrrl, and I don't think that's necessarily accurate. I don't think that's a necessarily a term that we use for ourselves, but people often link us to that because it's female-fronted political music.
Yeah, and there's a lot of feminist stuff going on. You see in feminist music, and the Visions of Feminism conference happens there every year. But I don't necessarily know anybody in bands right now that would self-describe themselves as Riot Grrrls. Just because I think a lot of people shrug the label because there's just so many music journalists that if you're a female-fronted band with an aggressive sound, they'll just call you Riot Grrrl, which is just a lazy comparison in a lot of ways because a lot of these bands are way more diverse. And they want to, I don't know, sometimes it feels like people are trying to fit you inside like a box, and I think a lot of feminist people making music have kind of become reactive to that, and there's almost a, kind of a shying away from it, even though I think we all really respect Riot Grrrl and the music that came out of that.
Yeah, it's definitely complicated because on one hand, unless you self-identify as a Riot Grrrl band, it feels like someone is talking about your music in a reductive way when they call you a Riot Grrrl band, and so that's frustrating. But at the same time, like, I am totally down with that music, and like, remember the first time that I know so many people have stories like this, but like the first time that I really got into Pussy Whipped, like I was saying, just being like so stoked that this existed, and like wishing that I had known about it even younger. So like, I feel a strong affinity for that music. But since we never sat down with our Riot Grrrl records and we're like, let's make a Riot Grrrl band, you know, or something like that. It's frustrating sometimes to just be called a Riot Grrrl band simply because we make overtly political music and like we're not necessarily a band of straight white bros. So it's complicated because we really like that stuff, and we feel some kind of like solidarity with it. Totally.
Yeah. I think
We all do,
do.
like without a doubt. I think, and I know that there's a lot of bands who even have similar politics in certain ways as us, who like maybe would hesitate at using that label for themselves. But I know I can't speak for like my other bandmates, but like for me personally, it's important for me to like vocally call myself a feminist because I'd rather stand with that label and that idea, even though I know that like there are problems within that, than like I'd rather like stand with that than not speak on it at all. Like if anything, I think we're all pretty influenced by a lot of like first wave West Coast punk stuff, like in the era of say the Gun Club or the Bags or something like that. And that scene is also like not heteronormative, not male dominated. There were lots of like Mexican bands around that time too, and I think that like just because people don't historicize that particular era of punk in that way, people don't talk about it as much, but like
There's not even a word for it.
right,
It's just so
but like
funny.
that stuff is super inspiring to me and like really creative and exciting.
Or even the no wave stuff too. People
Yeah.
all different genders and races and sexual preferences or whatever, like just coming together and playing music like they were reinventing it. You know, just there's inspiration everywhere. It's really great.
I don't know. I don't know if we could boil it down to like one thing. Maybe something along the lines of like do whatever the fuck you want, you know, with an asterisk mark. Cause like don't hurt others. I don't know. Maybe hurt others.
Keep your
I don't
eyes
know.
open. Keep your eyes open.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I would shy away from there being like one message because like if our music could be set up in one message, like we could just like pat our hands and walk away. I think our own perspective on things is always changing, and that's coming out in the music, and we all bring ideas to the table when we talk to each other and influence each other, and then our experiences out on the road and in normal life, you know, which are also constantly changing, I think fuel. Yeah, we're just dealing with like everyday life and like the same bullshit everyone else does, and trying to like talk about it hopefully to see if there's a better way to deal with it. If you talk to other people, maybe they can like, I don't know. That's so dumb and cheesy.
No, it's just it's
So
complicated. It's too complicated to call it one thing, to say that it's about
And I
one
would
thing.
hope it could never be one thing. Like even the idea of that it's a way of thinking that I would definitely never embrace. Of like, I embrace the chaotic aspects of everything and shy away from people that try to simplify too much. I think you tend to do violence to an idea when you try to simplify it. Bye.